it's okay to have depression.
There's
like, I feel like there's a stigma against it. Like, you gotta be crazy, something wrong.
Yeah.
Or you had to go through something tragic to have depression, and that's not true. The things that I went through in my life actually are not the reason I have depression.
The universe works, and I know how things work, and everything happens for a reason, and you see things when you need to see them.
Yeah.
And so I was scrolling, probably they call it doom scrolling, you know, like in bed, because another thing with depression is it's hard to get up.
When you be honest with yourself, that would help escape every bad thought that you have, because those bad thoughts are based on your bad experiences. The lenses of other people. Yeah. Yep. So when you literally be honest with yourself, first of all, realize, you know, the honesty that you need to be honest about.
Hi, welcome to C Notes. I'm Kierra, the founder and host of C Notes. Today's episode is Alone in a Crowd. And we're really getting into depression and isolation, two experiences that can make you feel completely alone, even when you're surrounded by people. Just imagine. I'll say, think about this. Have you ever been in a room full of people but still felt completely alone? That's the thing about depression and isolation. They don't always look the way people expect. You can be laughing with friends, showing up to work, handling your responsibilities, and still feel invisible, like no one really sees or hears you. Depression makes everything feel heavy. Even the smallest tasks, I'll say, feel impossible to complete. And the things that used to bring you joy just don't hit the same. Isolation, on the other hand, convinces you that no one would understand, even when deep down you're hoping someone will notice. And when the two come together, it's like walking through a crowded street. New York, Chicago, think about one of them if y'all ever been, especially New York. But you're walking in that crowded street and feeling like a ghost, feeling like you're not present. That's what I'll say. That's how depression and isolation can really make you feel. And I think I don't know, it reminds me of this song, you know, I'm getting into our first song of today, Rain by SWV. And for me, I feel like it relates to depression and isolation because a lot of those love songs do make you feel like that. But the song really speaks on longing for comfort, wanting something to wash over the pain, needing the reliefs. And depression can feel like you're drowning in emotions, but sometimes allowing yourself to feel, to cry, to let it out is the first step towards healing. In this episode, Alone in the Crowd, we're exploring what it feels like to carry those emotions because I feel like depression is an emotion, just like anxiety and some of the other things I feel like are, I'm not going to say emotion, but side effects to childhood. And I feel like how we respond and react to them are definitely these things too. But really how they shape our daily lives and what it takes to break free from them, honestly, because this whole season is about freeing your mind, freeing yourself from society. I'll say societal expectations of how we should handle and deal with these things. And I'm gonna say handle and deal with them because I feel like in society, we're taught not to deal with these things. And I was just having a conversation with my best friend and it's relevant, so I'm about to share. So we were talking about how they teach us a lot of things in reverse, I feel like. For the most part, I feel like in school, especially elementary and middle school, we should be heavily focused on, of course, know your ABCs, 1, 2, 3. We're going to learn them anyway. That's just a requirement anyway. But I feel like it's important to learn your emotions and learning that they're massive, not happy, sad, glad, mad, angry. And also learning to communicate in health, the proper food, nutrition, and things like that. And I know this may seem off topic, but in high school, we should be learning about the day-to-days of our lives now. I think we should be learning how to do our taxes, how to change a tire, how to wash clothes, things like that. That's really gonna I'm just saying, like, if we're preparing ourselves for lives, let's prepare ourselves. Of course, learn those basics, but those things that we really need to learn are basics. And I'm not saying reading and writing is basic because it's everything, but it's basic, especially some of the math classes that we would never use again. But also, even about voting in the 4th grade, we learn about legislation and about electorals and all of that stuff. So by the time you get in high school and when it's really time to vote, you don't know nothing about what it means to vote. What does your vote count? You don't know anything about the Constitution at all, honestly. And I know in Illinois you're supposed to pass this Constitution law, but a lot of people don't know the facts of being, like, I'll say now you have to turn yourself over to being an adult. I don't know why, but I think things should be switched. I feel like learning about emotions at an early age, it will impact you through the rest of your life versus, okay, now I'm an adult and I'm feeling this. I don't know really what this is, but I'm feeling it. And now I'm going to say, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm this, but it's a lot deeper than that. I'm frustrated. I feel mentally, I'll say, enslaved. I don't even know how to explain what I'm feeling. And now this leads to depression and this leads to you isolating. And yeah, y'all, that's what we're going to be talking about. I don't want to get too off topic, but you're going to hear from guests who have been in that space, who know the weight of loneliness, who felt the grip of depression, and who have found ways to, I'll say, to take small, meaningful steps towards healing and reconnecting. This episode isn't about pretending everything is fine because, once again, I'll say society has a way of throwing glitter on stuff, making it look good. It's not, because we all feel these things, but we don't have to be stuck and consumed by them. It's about really naming the feelings, breaking the silence, and reminding you that even when it feels like no one understands, you are never truly alone, okay? So let's start the conversation.
Depression, isolation. Can you tell me about your experience with depression and isolation?
Yes. So for me, I did not know I had depression. I was always used to functioning and getting through things and not really encompassing that you probably got some issues. My doctor is the one who told me I had depression. I was like, shouldn't I know? Like,
I would feel it.
I should feel the difference. And in reality, it's because you start creating new normals to get through your regular normal. Like, I didn't think that sleeping in was a bad thing. Yeah. Like when I'm up at 5 a.m. and the one day I get to sleep, like I thought that was okay. But in reality, it's like, oh, anything over the 2-hour normal, like if you are usually up at 5 and you're still in the bed at 7, okay, well, you probably should be up and moving if you're not. And then 11, you're still in the bed. Yeah. Excessive sleep. And I was like, well, I know excessive thirst. I don't know excessive sleep. You can't have enough sleep. Yeah. You keep telling me to rest. Like, yeah. That's when it started peaking to me. That maybe, okay, well, let me see what other patterns or symptoms that I'm actually dealing with. So it was also, depression is interesting because, like, it just means low spirited. Yeah. It just means that, like, you just don't have the oomph to do your like, and a lot of people experience that.
Everybody does.
Everybody does to some level or degree. Now, those who deal with it more frequently or last longer, that's when you clinically have the issue. So I actually was prescribed Zoloft. And I didn't think that I needed medicine. I just thought that, like, it's going to go away because as a kid, I was told that, no, you just, it'll be fine. Like, that's not something you need medicine for. And so I was very apprehensive about doing medicine because I was like, I should be able to beat this. Like, it started making me combat my disorder instead of understanding my disorder. And when I started realizing that, like, depression don't have me. Depression don't have me. Like, I can do things to help. And one of the symptoms I noticed that I knew I needed to seek at least some type of guidance or understanding was the loss of interest. I thought it meant that, like, certain things or, like, really important things. And it's not necessarily that. It could literally be the thing that you love the greatest and you're just like, not today. not today. Like when I was like my kids, I was like, I love my children dearly. But I was like, can I just get, can I just not?
Yeah.
Like, and then it's that me having that interpersonal conversation. Like, you would never not want to play with your kids, but it's okay sometimes. But now we're having, okay, this week it's been 2 times. Last week it was 3 times. Okay, now we got a record of evidence that like is showing that you know you're struggling with this. And I feel like struggling for me is a word that means that I'm combating. I'm not giving up.
Yeah,
I'm still working through it. I'm still understanding. I'm still learning what my triggers are, learning what environments kind of push those a little bit more. Seasons. Yeah. Like there's seasonal depressions, but for me, like certain seasons add a lot more burden to my thoughts. And that's where I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just try to what's wrong if I try to medicine? Because if you gave to, let me just see, because I can't seem to do this by myself anymore like I thought I could. And it usually takes about a good 4 to 6 weeks before anything starts building up in your system to show. Yeah, and then I was like, you know what? Okay. Yeah. That's what I do. It brought me back to me. Yeah. And I felt so, I felt almost, it was almost like I was counteracting the depression again, because I was like, why couldn't I figure that out? Yeah. Why can't I get myself to feel this way without the medicine? And then I was like, you know what? Everybody needs something. Yeah. Like people drink coffee as a picker-upper. So like, this could be your just mood regulator, which usually is. So I also have like PTSD, which is part of the issue why I actually needed the medicine. And, it's been, I feel like I'm a new me. I feel like I'm getting back to me and understanding my purpose more, because almost everybody is dealing with some form of depression. And I didn't realize it's almost.
It's a normal, I feel like it's a regular emotion. Happiness, sadness, anger, grief.
It's so, it's literally should be added in to our regular, like, how you feeling today?
Yeah, because some people, like when you were saying, like with the depression, it's different levels, but like, so is anger. And we all respond and react to it differently. And it's trying to teach ourselves and those coping mechanisms to try to, you know, I'll say respond and react differently.
And that's what I'm learning with my depression. Yeah. Like, how do I respond when I'm feeling this way? What am I doing? Because I, at the end of the day, am in control of this. If I want it to take me, it will. I don't. And again, everybody suffers differently. So like for me, it's like, okay, all right, you set an alarm. You want to sleep a little extra. This is your extra. Give myself a version of what extra is, not excessive. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, I can do a little extra. I don't have to do it. Yeah. And that's been, again, a learning journey, having my family learn what this looks like for me. Like, I feel like that's probably been the hardest part for me, because they're used to mommy doing this and being just go, and being okay, or always having a smile to do it. And having the conversations with my children and just kind of, hey, like, mommy just needs a little bit of me time. Mommy just needs to reset just so that I can be the greatest for you later. Or we can do this later. Just give mommy, if you can work with me, I can work with you. Yeah. And usually they're like, okay. And I'm like,
because being honest and transparent, that's literally all you have to do.
That's the greatest help that I never knew I needed, was to just tell them that, like, because my depression, I wouldn't say anything. No, I'm fine. No, it's okay. No, I'm just tired. No, I worked a lot. Like, giving excuses so that people wouldn't dig into why I'm probably
and
like this.
Probably some of the factors that could have led to it. You know, being the strong one, and then our body will. The body mind, it works together. Your body was like, you need a break.
You need a chill.
And it's like it probably went into shutdown mode. Like,
and it did. It made me sick. It actually made me sick. And I was like, okay, I can't keep lying to myself, because I can't seem to get back, because I keep lying to myself and to others. These are usually people that help me do these things. But like, I thought I could just do it on my own. That was probably the biggest like captain of the superhero. That's my mama made it through like day and night people before, like all those things that we use as ratification.
Yeah, but they really didn't make it through, because you see how they responded and reacted to life and to actually raising kids.
Or even seeing what they were doing with us as children, not knowing that that was depression, was something that, as I talked to my doctor, I realized, like, you mean to tell me that it can look like this too? Yeah. It can look like this. Yeah. She was like, there's high functioning, there's, you know, all these tiers to it. And I was like, so you...
But I think the biggest thing that you said is being honest.
to yourself.
Yeah.
You can't lie to yourself.
You try.
I mean, a lot of people do. They be trying. They be trying. But that's what causes it to you giving it more power too. Yep.
You're also giving more symptoms to develop. You're giving more tears to get. It's harder to get out of the more you lie to yourself about it.
Yep.
And that's what I learned.
That's true. So you mentioned setting an alarm and giving yourself a time limit. I think that's great because I try to tell my clients, like, you have to force yourself out of bed. Like, I don't care if it's just going to check the mailbox. I don't care if you go into the living room to watch TV. So what else do you do?
So some of the things that I noticed, I had to look at what I do when I'm really depressed. Again, me realizing.
Learning yourself. Yep.
I had to learn these things. So I'm like, where do I go when I'm the most depressed? I stay in bed. I stay in my room. But before, my room was my sanctuary. It was the only place that I could go to watch what I wanted to watch and do. So it gave me comfort to go to this place. But then I didn't realize that it was also the place that was sinking me the greatest.
Yeah.
So when I know that I'm just like, oh, not today. I literally will set timers, or I will ask my family, like, hey, can y'all give me 30 minutes? And 30 minutes means to keep me out here with you guys for 30 minutes. Not let me go somewhere by myself for 30 minutes, but let me see the joy in you guys. And it adds morale. It really does. Like, my kids want to play a game. Like, I'm like, hey, mommy can just get 30 minutes. It's like a pick me up. So they're like, Mom, let's play a game. Let's play the game. Let's play a story, read a book or something that engages me with them. The things that make me the happiest are the things that help me through those moments. And, the 30 minutes, again, that sounds like a lot, but like 30 minutes go by fast when you're having fun.
It does.
I'm like, okay, well, shoot. And I go to bed different. I go to bed positive. I go to bed like, you know what? Okay.
Yes.
You're just, I don't know. It's like a nice little shot of espresso. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
I did that. But finding what works for you is harder to discover.
Yes, it is. It is.
Some people don't have, kids and stuff like that.
That's,
or pets or things like that. So I know my husband will be like, babe, just go outside. Just literally walk outside. And I was like, hey, man, outside.
Yeah.
Versus I was like, oh, that brisk air.
That's in.
The smell and difference from being inside my house and to being outside and putting all these clothes. Like, I'm also a person, like, if I'm getting dressed, I'm doing something. Like, I just feel like it's a kickstart to that.
It is.
And, he would literally just like, babe, go outside. And I'm like, I don't want to. And then before I know it, I'm listening to music. And that's definitely one of my coping skills for my depression is music.
Is there a song? I'm sorry, because,
my daughter's favorite song is Pretty Girl Rock. By Kierra King. And
do the pretty girl rock, do the pretty girl rock.
I think that's a great song.
It plays unconsciously in my mind, and then sometimes I'll just turn it on. But like, just literally just going out, and before I know it, I'm either pacing, walk halfway down the street, or I'm, now I'm talking to a neighbor. It's almost like it helped boost.
It does. Being outside, being in nature, it goes a long way with mood.
I didn't think so. You could have told me that would be such an easy thing to do that doesn't cost me anything. Because I'm a little frugal. So like, if I could save some money, but like not knowing that literally just changing my environment.
It goes a long way.
It really does. Especially if you are like in a sunken state, or like, I don't want to do anything. I hate this. I don't want this. And then you also are giving space for those other intrusive thoughts to start pillaring. Because like, when I'm laying in my bed, there is no TV. It is dark. It's all gloom and doom. Like, oh no, that's how you're supposed to sleep. And that's how I'm supposed to get rest. And not realizing that I'm not actually getting rest. I'm just...
And when it comes to that depression, you have to be intentional. And it's good that you allow your family to be that support for you. But like you said, everybody doesn't have that. So, but everything that you mentioned is something that if you don't have that family support inside the house, like setting that alarm, that's really good. Going outside, listening to that music, all of those things you have to be intentional about doing when you know that, you know what, I found myself being in bed a little bit longer than I usually do. Especially once it didn't happen like 2-3 days, you know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
One day, okay.
But
and sometimes 2, but after the 3rd day, if you notice the same thing, you got to force yourself and you have to be intentional about what you're doing. And like you said, like, even in my mind, I'm like, I love going to shows, but I don't really want you already bought the ticket. Cause I know for me, I be having my moments when I be isolating a lot, and I done missed a lot of shows, and I love concerts. I like comedy shows. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna go. I don't care about the money. I just don't feel like it. But just force yourself to go, because eventually that's what I'm like, if I buy my money or if I spend my money to go, but honestly, I'm just gonna be truthful. I'm like, you ain't buying a ticket until the day of. Like, no, but if you buy the ticket, you see it's something that you normally would go to, you go to it. Cause soon as you're in that environment, your mood,
Everything changes.
And like you said too, you were saying this, as soon as you're going outside, you getting dressed. And I'm like, you look good, you feel good. So you getting dressed, that's already putting you in a different, even though you might be trying to fight it. But no,
and you do.
No.
But then like give yourself that space to be like, you know what would look good today?
Yeah.
See that sweater in a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Like actually get dressed as if there's a purpose.
Yep.
That change for me.
Yes.
Again, if I get dressed, then okay, well, let me go ahead and do my hair. Or let me go ahead and fix my face. Like,
and then when you outside, the people don't know what you're experiencing. So it could be a real random stranger. Hey, how are you? You know, and then y'all just get to talk about anything, you know?
That's what happens. And I was like, God, are you putting these people in places so that I knew that this was actually you're showing me that it works. You're showing me that I can do it too.
Yes.
But then one of the things I did notice that like one of my signs of depression, again, that withdrawal thing, like from my friends, I didn't think that was a thing. Yeah. Honestly, because I was just like, oh, you don't feel like going, don't go.
Yeah.
It's okay. But then I was like, okay, well, I didn't go to this and I missed this birthday party. I would never miss a birthday party, but I was like, oh, I had a migraine. Well, you had a migraine, but it was over. And you just decided to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, the medicine made me sleepy. Like, giving myself excuses for why I'm not doing the things as I started reviewing, like, what have I missed out on this year? And these are pillar moments that, again, I would never miss out. If you are in a space where you're missing moments that you didn't think you would ever not be present for, even if they're little, like going to breakfast with my friends. We set up stuff all the time, and I'm like, no, I don't feel like it. No, or not responding at all.
Yeah, that's a definitely sign. So, and even I'll say, friends, support system, people, if you do have people in your life and it's like, why she didn't respond? That's not normal. Just give them a call, like, hey, what's going on? Especially after a certain amount of time, people have patterns.
Yeah, and you know what's normal for them. You know
it definitely.
But it's also easy to see depression in other people than it is to see in yourself.
It is.
Because, again, the different levels and how it shows up for them and what they're going through. Like, oh, okay, well, that ain't me. That's not the same thing. Versus, again, for me, was like, I ain't seen my friends in weeks. And I'm okay with it. That would never be my...
Yeah, but the biggest thing is learning yourself and self-reflection. And even, like you said, start noticing your patterns. And even... a lot of people do talk about seasonal depression, but I feel like it's seasonal in situations. Like, say... June is my month of depression, you know, because June hasn't been a heavy, I'll say, month for me throughout my whole entire life. Because I had one of my clients, actually a lot of my clients, it was August. That was back to school time. That was heavy, anxiety filled. That was there was that time where their mood sinks. And then I had another client, one of my first clients, he was like, you know, robbed at gunpoint, car taken, and it was at 6 p.m. every day. That was, you know, you got to start learning your body, learning those warning signs, and just being intentional about showing up for yourself. Yeah, that's what I'll say. But is there a message you want to leave the audience in regards to depression, isolation?
It's okay to have depression. There's like, I feel like there's a stigma against it. Like, you gotta be crazy, something wrong.
Yeah.
Or you had to go through something tragic to have depression, and that's not true. The things that I went through in my life actually are not the reason I have depression. They're just like, it's actually a hormonal change in your body. Men have hormones too, which cracks me up that people are like, just women. I'm like, men too.
Yeah,
like, and again, your environment can change your hormones. So for me, if anything, learn yourself so that you can see what's different, because only you would know.
Yes.
But again, me telling my doctor what I normally do, and she's like, oh, and I was like, you don't see me every day, so how would you know this? But it was me conveying.
Yes. No, and even that is something big. I tell all my clients, I'm like, you know yourself better than anybody. And sometimes we don't tell the full picture. And I'm like, it's better to start writing and so you can be honest to your doctor, psychiatrist, when you do go, so they can see the full picture and have a more accurate diagnosis. Because a lot of times, even when you take answering those questions, you like, but when
you scale it back, or you like, it ain't that bad. You say it's not that bad. In reality, it really is.
Because they'll ask you your mood level, and then
But if you answered honestly, you'd honestly see that I have been struggling with something, and that's okay.
And it is.
Like, I just feel like that's probably the one thing. Know that it's okay.
Knowing that
if you're willing to accept that it's okay. Like, you don't like broccoli. Okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Awareness is the first step. It's like the 12 steps. You have to admit to yourself and be honest with yourself to bring about the change. Because if you're in denial and you're lying to yourself, you're going to stay in that. So be honest so you can start to work on it.
Right. And then usually most of us are doing something for the next person. Like we're pushing through for our parents, pushing through for our spouse. And if that's something that pushes you along, then they would want to see you at your high functionality. They would want to see you the way they know you. So if you're dealing with depression, that's not you.
Yeah.
That's not the way they would see you. So do realize yourself, do be aware, do seek help.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize that I could not do it on my own. I don't think you could shake it off, brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. Like I feel like that's just probably the biggest thing. Just like, believe it or not, almost every other person you see is dealing with some form of depression.
Yeah, we all have
And didn't know that it was a thing because we were shunned to say like depression.
Yeah, like you said, the stigma, but it's stigma to mental health. And even right now, it's like, it's getting a lot of notice, but I feel like, honestly, I love that it's getting a lot of notice, but it's also getting a lot of bad, I'll say. Not bad, but it's these connotations, and I feel like a lot of people misuse therapy, mental health, things like that, and now a lot of people are using it as a form of manipulation versus rather doing better.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate, but thank you so much for sharing and being open and honest. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's helped me to be honest. So yeah,
thank you. So can you tell me about your experience with depression?
Yeah. So depression for me felt extremely heavy and intense, but also numbing at the same time. So I guess like it felt intensely, like an intense feeling of numbness. Because it's weird, because like with depression, you feel empty. It feels like emptiness. But then like, so intense doesn't feel like it would work with that word either, but it's like, but it is. It's intense emptiness. It's intense numbness. It's just, you feel, almost nothing, but it's like an intense feeling
of nothingness.
A
lot of people who experience depression, they say they don't feel anything at all. And I always tie depression with isolation. What are your and also I feel like personally depression is an emotion. And I feel like it's an intense emotion, just like anger can be intense, happiness can be intense. What do you think about the isolation or the feeling of depression? See, I'm even saying the feeling of depression being a feeling.
I think that isolation 100% is a part of it. And I never felt like I had such a disinterest in doing anything. No, like things that used to be enjoyable for me, like I didn't care to do them at all. And a major part of depression for me was just never having energy. I just always felt tired, like 100% of the time. Didn't matter what time of day it was. It didn't matter how much slept I got the night before. I had no energy. And it felt lonely, and I also felt like no one could really understand me or would ever really understand just how heavy it was. And then like, I think back to the moments when I was experiencing severe depression, and it's just like, it could be the sunniest, most beautiful day outside, and most people, when it's nice out, especially in Chicago, it's like, when summer comes, it's like, thank God, right?
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Jesus. It's warm.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we can go to dinner, we can go for a walk outside, enjoy the sunshine. But when I was in that intense depression, I was just like, it could be the most beautiful sunny day, and I still felt dark. It still felt dark to me. It still felt heavy to me. It still felt like a cloudy day for me, like inside. So that was like a major part of it too.
I mean, how did you deal with that, honestly? Because it's like totally against who you are as a person. You bubbly, social. How did you get through the depression, or how do you, cope with depression?
Yeah. A big thing for me was music. And like I had my people that I looked up to in my life. So I tried to like look up to them and reach out to them if I could, you know, and to, like talk with them. A big part of my healing process has been talking with people, talking with you, and just like working on like the mindset part of it. And the music was really huge because it's like it felt you can feel the vibes and the energy of music. And it's healing. So.
It is, definitely. Is there a certain song or anything that really got you to get that energy, you know?
Yeah, there is. So Tyler, the Creator, always. Yeah. He's like my number one. He's my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
But like, cause he just gets me pumped up because he has like some like hype music, you know, but then also just like his message is so good. It's basically just be you, man. Yeah. Like who cares what anyone has to say? You know, he's kind of controversial or definitely more in the past. He was controversial because of like his lyrics and like the words that he used, you know what I'm saying? Like vulgar language, stuff like that. But I just have always looked up to him. He's been so inspiring for me, and he helped me a lot through my depression because I was just like, nah, like I'm just gonna be me. Like I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do me. And then additionally, like the music sounded good. It got me excited and got me more energy. But a specific song would be it's called Eventually by Tame Impala, and it's basically the lyrics are and I know that be happier, and I know you will too. Yeah, and then it's like eventually, like that.
Yeah.
And so I think that was like a big one for me because just like hearing those lyrics, I was just like, eventually, because in the moment of depression, it feels very heavy and like it'll never go away. But I think that's.
Yeah, I love it. I know you had mentioned earlier before recording a TikTok. What was that about?
Yeah. So with depression, there's this one TikToker I saw. I think honestly, I don't remember exactly when I saw it, but I know how the universe works and I know how things work, and everything happens for a reason, and you see things when you need to see them.
Yeah.
And so I was scrolling, probably they call it doom scrolling, you know, like in bed, because another thing with depression is it's hard to get up.
Yeah.
It's hard to get up and do anything because you're just like,
yeah,
you know? But I was scrolling in bed one day and I saw this TikTok and this guy was like, okay, I don't know who needs to hear this, but get up, go outside, go take care of yourself, go eat, drink water, talk to your friends, talk to your family. Like we gonna live this life. You have one, so get up. And that was like, I don't know, that made an impact on me. It made an impression on me, and I was just like, wow. And I think that might have like helped me a lot too. So.
No, I definitely, I think I tell a lot of my clients who are experiencing depression, no matter, because the getting out of bed part is the hardest. I'm like, go check the mail. Just do something that's going to get you out of that bed.
Yeah.
So with that, is there a message you want to leave the audience in regards to depression?
Yeah. It's the change comes from within yourself. It all is within you. You have to make the decision and you have to decide to take action for change to occur and to start your healing journey. So that's the biggest message, is that it starts with you. It's within you, like that you are your own power. Like you have the power, you know? And so that's what it was for me, like kind of the mindset change where I was just like, okay, like, yes, I'm feeling this. Yes, it's intense. It's heavy. It feels lonely. It feels dark, but how is it going to change? I have to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's within you.
It's always self. It always leads back to self.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right. Depression. Whew. Can you tell me about your experience with depression?
Depression is dark. It's very dark. And it comes not only just once, it comes and it continues to come. It sneaks up on you half the time. Depression is mind control. Like, I would close myself out from everyone.
That isolation.
Yeah, I would close myself out. I would block myself from the world, from my responsibilities, self-care.
Yeah.
It can get very, very ugly. It can get dark. And it's hard to get out of it. It's hard to snap back into reality, wake up, as we say. But I seeked help, you know, at my darkest times. Because not only depression brought thoughts to me, like I wanted to kill myself. I remember contacting my mom. This is before I decided to remove myself from South Bend. I remember contacting her, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry if I did anything to hurt you. I was going to slice my wrist. You know, I was going to die slow. I wanted to no longer be here. But a voice, of course. Everybody say, oh, we hear voices.
I hear. That's what
I hear. I think a lot, and I think of other options. I'm always thinking of another way. And I'm just like sitting in my apartment, and I'm just thinking, you know, I just left my ex. We just broke up. His people just vandalized my car. I was in a dark place. It was Christmas. My sister with her baby daddy, and my mom already moved to Indianapolis. So I was really alone, you know, when I thought about doing this. I texted my mom, though. I said, hey, if I ever did anything to hurt you, I apologize. I'm going to tell you now. So you won't have to find out anything later. And then my sister showed up at my door. So my mom called my sister and was like, get to Veronica's house, go get her. So she come around, I'm like, what's up? You know, she's like, well, mom told me to come pick you up. And I'm like, for what? She was like, because you by yourself, just let's go, you know. She probably saved my life. She probably saved me from making a really bad decision. But I get in the car with her, and then I goes, she lived like maybe a mile away from my great grandma, Gigi, Vereda. So I'm like, hey, she's over there with her family doing her little stuff. So I'm like, let me use your car real quick. And I drive to my Vereda house, and I'm sitting on her bed because at this time I'm broke. I don't have any money. I can't hold a job for more than 2 weeks. I'm living in public housing, you know, in the hood. My ex, we just broke up. My car vandalized. Everything in life for me was going under. Everything. I felt like I had nothing to lean on. So I sat on Marita's bed, and she just got to talking. You know, Marita was deaf the last 10 years of her life. Like, she wasn't deaf, but she was very hard of hearing. So she was just explaining to me, like, I was just thinking about you. I'm glad you popped up here. What you going through in life? Because I had a bad feeling that you wanted to hurt yourself. Are you thinking about prostitution? Now, mind you, this 90-year-old woman is saying this to me, and I'm just like, and I just started crying. Like, I ain't said not a word. It's just tears falling from my eyes because every bad thing that she said is what I thought. I was thinking about prostitution to making money so I can have everything that I needed materialistically. I was thinking about killing myself. I was thinking about all these bad thoughts. She spoke them out, and I was just like, dang. Like, this lady, we must be really connected. You know, like, we have to be. Ain't no way. But she reminded me that I belonged to her. She reminded me that I was hers. And anytime I need anything and I'm in that dark spot, to come to her. And I was just like, dang, Marita, like, she just don't know, you know, how she affected me. She pulled out hundreds and was like, I don't know if you need this, but here, take that. Mind you, I had not $1 in my name. So that helped. Then my grandma, she stood in the doorway. She ended like, well, let me get some money too, Veronica. It's almost like they seen me cry from the inside. Like, they heard my cry without even me being there. They pulled me out of that depression, you know. So I went and I took my sister's car back to her, made her take me back home. The next day was Sunday. And I'm like, I'm going to walk. It's a a church that's on the corner of Kenmore, I think, by the Munchie Mart. I walked to that church. Mind you, I stayed cat a corner in the projects. So I walked over there and I sat in the back pew. And I just listened to God. I listened to the sermon because at that moment I felt like it was for me. Yeah. I sat there and I listened and I removed myself. That was my next decision. Remove yourself from this place. Yeah. That following weekend, you took me to Indianapolis, moved my mom, and I started to rebuild myself. I did reach out. I got help. I was on Medicaid, of course. And I got counseling. I seek therapy. That was a dark spot. And it took, these people don't know how they affected me during that dark time, during that depression. I wish my radio was still here because I still would say thank you. I always say thank you to her. I love her to death. I loved her to death and still love her. But they pulled me out of it. It was dark. I didn't know you can go that dark. Yeah. But you can't. And if you don't listen to those thoughts in your head sometimes, the good side, because you always got these, you don't have these negative thoughts. If you don't listen to those good thoughts, you may be in trouble. You may be in trouble. So I am thankful for everybody who played their role then. And like I said, depression always returns.
And also being open to, I'll say, receiving the help. I mean, a lot, of course, we all isolate, but when you know that you're in that, be open to going. Because you
when I notice it now, like now though, when I notice it now, I immediately make an appointment with my therapist. Like, look, or I go make a doctor's appointment. I would talk to my doctor as if she's a therapist. Yeah. And she was like, oh, Veronica, we about to get, let's get you some help. That's depression comes and it's gonna come and it's gonna go.
But you know what's the thing that you're doing? You're releasing, because a lot of people, we hold in so much that it's like now it's you so heavy. It's the darkness. It's like, oh my God, it feels like doom, and it's like, and even if you don't reach out to that therapist, talk to somebody you trust, and if you can't, talking to that phone, do whatever you have to do to get it out, because if you don't,
it can get dark. Like I said, it can get really dark, and it always reappears. It always comes back.
Because I feel like depression is like
it's an emotion. It is.
Yeah, and you have to learn how to work through it. Don't let it become you. Right. So is there a message you want to leave the audience in regards to depression, isolation?
There's always another way. There's always another way. Like you said, Sierra, depression is a form of it's an emotion. You notice it. If you don't recognize those dark emotions, they will overtake you. You have to dig into yourself, dig into getting help, dig into bettering yourself in any aspect when it comes to depression. Because if it gets a hold of you, and you don't have that support system, or you don't have an out for it, it will overtake you. Talk about your problems. Talk about what bothers you. Talk about the emotion that you're going through in those moments. It helps. It helps. It does. Big time. So
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for being open and honest about your experience. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how important it is to be honest, to be vulnerable. It's not a weakness, but this is why it's so much, I'm gonna say, so many problems in the world, honestly, because so many people are carrying so much weight.
I would like to say one more thing though. When you be honest with yourself, that will help escape every bad thought that you have, because those bad thoughts are based on your bad experiences.
The lenses of other people.
Yeah. Yep. So when you literally be honest with yourself, first of all, realize, the honesty that you need to be honest about. Be honest. Speak on it. Talk to somebody about it. We always talk, as in the Black homes especially, we'll say what goes on in this house stays in this house. Yeah. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That would keep you locked down. Yeah. And it will have
internally. Control. And this is why the inside, we have to work on that. And that's why I'm like, I'm not trying to create no selfish world, but until you work on that internal, you can't help nobody. You can't be good for nobody. Right. But thank you.
I want to thank my guests for being open and vulnerable and sharing their story today. Depression and isolation can feel like a deep fog, like you're stuck and can't see a way forward. But as we heard today, there is always a way through, even if it's just one small step at a time. Healing doesn't always come in a grand, life-changing moment. I've been told y'all about that. It's not going to be dramatic. It's going to be what you need in that moment. But you have to choose what you're going to do with it. Sometimes it's just choosing to get out of bed, replying to that text, reminding yourself that your presence matters. If you're feeling alone right now, please know this. Your feelings are real, but they do not have to define you. Your pain is valid, but it does not make you unworthy of love, connection, or peace. And most importantly, you don't have to go through this alone. Whether it's a friend, a loved one, or a professional, there is always someone willing to listen. Even if it's, our community, leave a comment about your experience, share your experience. Your story matters, okay? And I'm gonna get in our last song today, and I feel like it can really help people lift you up. And yeah, the song is Lovely Day, Bill Weathers.
A lovely day.
It's a song about how even when things feel hard, there's still something worth holding on to. Still a reason to keep going. Still light breaking through. Depression tries to make you forget that even in the heaviest moment, there's hope. So if today feels heavy, hold on. If you're questioning your worth, hold on. And if you don't know how to take the next step, just take the smallest one you can, because every step forward is still movement. And maybe, just maybe, tomorrow can be a lovely day. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. If this episode touched you, share it with someone who might need a reminder that they are seen, they are heard, and they are valued. And as always, take care of yourself, be gentle with your heart, and keep creating the life you don't want to escape. Until next time, may you find strength in your struggle, peace in your process, enjoying your journey ahead. Thanks. Good night.
A lovely day.